Let us pray. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Amen. So if you were here last week, you know that I kind of used that prayer, right? The word had come to Samuel that he was no longer going to be judge in Israel. He and his sons had, not he, but his sons had become corrupt. They were bribing and taking bribes, and the people had had it with Samuel and his sons. Now, that system of ruling was with really God at the head. The judges were the mediators, but there was God as the leader, the judges, like Samuel and his sons, as the mediator of God's leadership. The people said, "We want a king." And Samuel said, "You will regret having a king. He will tax you. He will conscript your children, particularly your sons. You will regret this." And the people said, "No, we want a king." And God said, "This is what the people want. Go with it. You can't change this." And so we talked about this question of why? Why is this happening? And the serenity of accepting the things we can't change and letting God take care of it. And that's what Samuel did. He gave way and anointed Saul as king. So this why question, why do these things happen? Now the question this week is, okay, Saul fell into the same trap of power. Became kind of a tyrant and used power to his own effect and his own good, and forgot that he was charged with the welfare of all the people. And so now the question is who? Last week it was why, and now the question is who? Who is going to lead us now? And so Samuel goes off to Bethlehem to anoint a new king. Now he's going to have to grow up. It's not going to be immediate. There's not going to be an insurrection. But the future is already present. Right? The future is already present in little David. So who is going to lead us? Good question, right?
Yes.
At the beginning of Samuel's life, when he's a little boy in the temple, God calls to him, and he finally gets it, that the answer, the appropriate answer when God calls is, "Here I am, send me." Right? Here I am, send me. Who is going to lead us? It's us. Who is going to lead us? There's no big magic leader out there. It's the little people that show the leadership. Now, I never ever thought that I would be in a position to have to, stand up and say, but I believe that I am, and I believe we all know this and agree with this, but I think it's important that we say as a church that you cannot take a piece of scripture, as has been done this week, a text of scripture, and use it to justify what is clearly immoral. It is not okay to take babies and little children away from their parents. When their parents are their sole protection, their parents have gone through hell to get to the shores of this country to ask for protection from deep and terrible, terrible violence. It's not okay. So we just need to be, I'm sorry to have to stand up here and say that, but we do. As the people of God, we have to say it. It's immoral. Now I also just need to talk about how we use Scripture. Because Scripture you can take, and this applies to not just Christian Scripture, not just Jewish Scripture, but pretty much any Scripture of any faith anywhere in the world. You cannot take one text out of context and then apply it. But it's done, right? It's done commonly, and it's usually done for some nefarious purpose. Romans 13, which is now in the news. Who knew that Romans chapter 13 would be in the news? But it is. And it gives us a huge opportunity to talk about the arc of God's justice and the Bible. And so let us seize the moment, my friends, and talk about Scripture. Romans 13, the Apostle Paul does in fact say that we should obey the laws of the land. And he goes on directly after those verses to say that God is love, and that the law that we follow, the ultimate law that we follow, is to love God and to love our neighbor. The exact same message that Jesus had. On this hang all the law and the prophets. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself. So we have to look at Scripture in its whole entirety, and also understand that Scripture's like dynamite. I mean, it can be used for good and should be used for good, but it can also, in the wrong hands, for the wrong purposes, be used for very bad purposes. Romans 13, the first few chapters of it were used to justify slavery in this country. They were used to justify the Holocaust. They were used to justify apartheid. So these verses have been used for very bad purposes over the history. Are you all with me on that? It's okay if you're not. It's okay. But I need to say it. But I think we're together. There is an opportunity in the parish hall. I have no script, but there are addresses there for our representatives in the United States Congress if you would like to write a letter about anything, really, but particularly about this issue that we're facing on the border of the United States of separating children from parents. Who's going to lead us? When Samuel went to anoint the new king, he looked at all these 7 sons and realized it's none of these. And he said, well, who's not at the table here? Who's not here? Oh, well, that the little guy, David. He's the littlest. He's basically the family servant. He's out in the field. And Samuel says, well, send for him. This little guy, send for him. He comes in, and Samuel says, he's the one. He's the one. So when we ask this question, who's going to lead us? One of the accompanying questions is, whose voice is not at the table? Whose voice are we not hearing from? Whose voice is so far at the margins that we don't even know that they're out there? The eyes of faith and the eyes of God calls us to look out and ask, who's not here? And then go find that voice, bring it in, because we need all of our voices of wisdom and guidance to lead us into the future that God has for us. Who's going to lead us? Well, let's look around. It's us. Here I am, Lord, send me. And who else do we need? Whose voice isn't at the table? Let's go get them and get their wisdom also. Now, finally, we have the parables that Jesus told. Sowing mustard seed. I'm going to put this in very modern terms. You have a well-manicured lawn, which you have worked over. It's nice. It's nice green lawn. And then somebody comes along and just sows dandelion seeds in your lawn. And Jesus says that's the kingdom. It's a messy, it's like weeds, it'll take over, and you think you need to pull it because it destroys your nice manicured lawn. But that's the kingdom. That's who we belong to. We belong to a God that is just out of bounds, doesn't necessarily follow the rules, pretty much doesn't follow the rules that we've made up. Sows the kingdom, love and justice and mercy all over the place, invites voices that aren't normally at the table, invites them in and says, you're it. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change. And here's the verse for this week, the courage to change the things I can. And send us out with the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.